Hello guys, welcome back to Malik 034 channel. This is Mallikarjun. Today is the day 2 of RAC internal course, where in my previous session I have covered what is RAC architecture and how RAC architecture is communicates and what are the RAC architecture components and what are the services and what are the local registry and what is cluster registry, what are the HA factors and how the clusterware and grid software and then RAC Oracle home will be formed and how the instance will communicate with the grid disk or local storage disk everything I covered. So today in this today's session I'm going to cover on VIP and scan. What you mean by VIP and what do you mean by scan. Just quickly go over uh, rack architecture and then I'll start with the today's session. So we covered how the client communicate with the instance and then internally instance will communicate with the storage network or storage disk, and then we went inside the grid infrastructure and what each cluster node contains OS, grid infrastructure and rack, and then again we went ahead with the what is grid infrastructure and internally what it contains ASM and then the cluster software, and then we saw on each node what are the components DB instance, ASM instance, HA framework and node membership, and then the OS, and then we saw HA factor, what are the n number of services it contains and how the what is the starting sequence, and there will be the stage 1 or phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. Each phase set of services will start and then internally they are responsible to start the other services, and then we saw what are local registry and what are cluster registry. It means some resource reside on that particular node and only applicable in that node, so those are local registry, local resource, and some services are responsible throughout the cluster. They can span or they can switch to surviving node if that node goes down, so those are like cluster resource. And then we winded up with our rack architecture session. So today I will start with the today's session, uh, what is VIP and scan IP. So before I start with today's actual session, I will just cover what is the three-tier architecture. Yesterday also I covered, and today I put some more details of how the three-tier architecture with host names and then the VIPs and the scan IPs. So as I explained yesterday, there's a front end, middle tier and back end. It's a three-tier architecture. The front end is going to be any one of that, mobile or URL or internet or desktop or anything that your client user or client used to connect to your database. uh, you know the connection happens via app server or a web server, anything, any Apache web server or whatever it is, whatever application yours is like EBS or Informatica or OBI, whatever application you guys can have it. So via app server your connection will go to DB nodes, DB node in the sense instances, uh, and then via instance your session will be connected to actual database. Again, database are going to be your Oracle database, SQL server, IBM DB2, anything. So connection happens via three tier, or if you have a direct access to application server, you can connect to application server, and directly from application server you can connect to instance using SQL plus or Toad or or anything, SQL developer, Toad or PLSQL or SQL client. From app server you can directly connect for administration work or some other extraction, or if you have a direct connection, if you have a direct like end system here somewhere in the same network, and then from that network is able to access your DB nodes, you can directly connect to instances. Or if you have a direct access to this DB node, you can directly OS log into this DB node and connect to this particular instance, right? Okay, so all right. So if you have a direct access to this particular nodes, just connect to this node and access this database using SQL Plus or Toad or whatever application. So you can access in any of them, and either via three tier or from the app server or directly from the DB node, or if you have direct other servers or the desktop, you're able to connect to this instance. You can connect it. Any other method you can able to access this database if you have proper writer access. Okay, so if you see here, this is instance 1, 2, 3, 4, and I can say that node 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the IP address of that node is 192.168.1.101, 102, 103 and 104. If you notice, the subnet mask is 1 here. Everything subnet mask is 1 here. You see, this is a public network. It's a host name and this is a public network, and this one is the subnet mask of that public network. So if you see this, each node 1, 2, 3, 4 has a VIP. Node 1 VIP, node 2 VIP, and node 3 VIP, and it's going to be node 4 VIP. And then if you see this IP address of the VIPs, 192.168, 1.105, like 101, 102, 103, 104 are the public IPs, and then 105, 106, 107 and 108 are the VIPs of that particular node. So if you see there, subnet also same 1, 1, 1, 1. So subnet of this host IP and VIP are same. Right now I made it host IP and then VIP are in the same subnet mask. So suppose these end applications are connecting to this app tier or your application, like for example EBS. That EBS application is trying to connect to any one of the instances using scan or load balancer. So if this application is want to connect to any one of the node, so you need to pass the TNS entry in this app server. TNS entry is basically connection string which holds all this node information and then the database instance information and then the port information. So if you give all this database name, you can pass it here. That is because one database, you can give one database name, and this database is listening in port 1521, you can pass that port 1521, and then this database is listening in 1521 via these 4 nodes. So you have to give all these 4 node details. So suppose if you give this host name node 1, node 2, node 3, node 4 here in the application server, so your application connection is going to happen. For example, if you give node 1, 2, 3, 4 and then any one of the node, it will connect and it will establish the connection and your transaction will be executed. Why instead of this node public host name, you can give this VIP host name, like node 1 VIP, node 2 VIP or node 3 VIP or node 4 VIP. You can pass it here along with the database and port. Then also your connection is going to establish. So there is no doubt in that. Either you can give a host name or you can give a VIP. So everything is fine, works fine. I mean to say host name in the sense you can give either host name or you can give IP address. Anything you can pass, IP address or host name, and VIP host name or VIP IP address. Anything you can pass, it will get connect. So then why this node public node name and VIP node name, public IP address and VIP IP address? Why these two concepts? And it is a, you may assume that is a waste of IPs, right? So two IPs, why you are going to give? So the reason behind that is, this node IP is a physical IP and then VIP is a virtual IP. Suppose your connection has established on this node 1 using this physical IP. So one client connection from this mobile connection, it will go to app server, and app server to this physical IP it will connect, and via physical IP it will connect to your database. Once this node goes down, your physical IP will go down and this existing connection will be lost. So if you still want to that connection to, even though there are 3 surviving nodes, if this node goes down, your connection will go down. So to avoid that scenario, what happens, instead of this physical node, you can give this VIP node. So this mobile application will connect to this app server, and via app server it will connect to VIP, and then it will connect to database. So in case this node goes down, this physical IP will be unavailable, but still your VIP will be floating in the cluster. That VIP, with the help of HA framework, this VIP will be shifted to any one of the surviving node, either node 2, node 3 or node 4. So then this mobile application connection of this VIP will be shifted to either node 2. So assume that it is shifted to node 2, and then this node 1 VIP will be passed to here, and then your connection will be still established to database. So that is how the RAC connection will be handed over to existing node or surviving node in case of node failure. That is why this VIP concept came into picture. So I hope this is clear. What is the physical IP or the node IP or public IP? versus this VIP, right? So again, similarly, if this URL or internet connection connected to this node 2 via this VIP, if this node goes down, this VIP will be shifted to any one of the surviving node. This is because virtual IP, once this physical node goes down, physical IP only will be unavailable, but this node VIP will be floating in the cluster, so that will be shifted to any one of the surviving node. So that is why this VIP concept came here. So I think this is pretty much clear, and you understood what is physical node or physical VIP, and then node VIP, node IP. And then there's the interconnect I explained in architecture, RAC architecture. That interconnect is the private. You can see, notice, right? The subnet I given as a 2 here, 192.168 2 dot anything, like all 4 nodes will be having private IPs. So that will be in the private subnet, that cannot be communicate to external world. This is the private. This is used for this node communication. That is why this subnet is different than this public subnet. This public subnet is a 1 here, and public here, the private subnet I made it as a 2, and the color code also I made it as a red. So it is internal to this rack. Only this rack is communicate with this private network. So with this I will start with the today's session. What is VIP and scan IP? By this time you might be aware that what exactly the VIP is. Okay, so let's start. VIP is a virtual IP. It's a quite simple IP address, and logically plumbed on the logical network interface. I said it's a virtual IP, and even though that node goes down, only physical IP will go down. That VIP will be floating because that's a virtual IP. And VIP are introduced in the 10G, right? Starting from the 10G, Oracle 10G, the VIP concept came. VIPs are needed in the rack for the quick failover. So as I told, right, client connection request, if connection request happened via VIP, even though node fails, your connection will be switched to any surviving node in the cluster. So database listener usually listen on the VIP address. As I told you, your application server or database, as I'll go back, give me a second, I'll just go back. Your application server, you can, in the TNS name, you can give either node IP or VIP. Ideally they will give VIP because it is easy. It will be much advanced feature than the node IP. If node IP goes down, there won't be possibility to switch over your connections. If you use VIP, you can switch over your connection in case of node failure, right? So this is basically listener, database listener will listen on the VIP. So then why we need VIP? I already covered, because if you can see here, if the client request for a connection goes to physical IP of that node, and then if that node goes down, the client will get noticed about after a network timeout. So as long as 10 minutes or whatever the network timeout you set, after that timeout only you will get noticed that node went down and I am not able to communicate with that IP. After the client gets the information after 10 minutes or whatever the timeout, the connection to the alternative address will take some time. So you have to switch, or for example, I'll go back to my previous. See, suppose if you are using a physical IP here, and this mobile client, it is connected to this physical IP, and this node goes down, and if you set a timeout as a 10 minutes, after 10 minutes this client will get a notification, this I'm not able to communicate with this node. So then this client has to change this connection to this physical node, and then it will connection established. 10 minutes the wait time, and then again he has to change the switch to this particular node. So that is why VIP has came into picture. So if this node goes down, client no need to intimate, so automatically after a timeout it will be switched to existing surviving node. So that is why it explains here why we need VIP. So then I will go to next slide. What is scan? Okay, I will again go back to my, to explain this scan, I will go back to my 3-tier architecture. So scan, I will tell you, suppose this mobile device or URL or interconnect or desktop wants to connect to any of your database. So what you need to do here, I told you, right, TNS entry you need to give. that TNS entry should have your VIPs, VIP 1, 2, 3, 4. You will be having 4 VIP host names or VIP IP address in your TNS connection. Suppose you given 4 VIPs here, VIP 1, 2, 3, 4, VIP 1, 2, 3, 4, all 4 you given here, and your mobile device will connect to the TNS name and it will pick up any one VIP. For example, it pick up one VIP 1 and then via VIP 1 it will connect to database. Suppose if your node goes down, or your node 1 or node 2 you removed from the cluster, you are not using node 1 or node 2, you are scaling down. Earlier you configured with 4 nodes and then you given 4 VIPs in your TNS names, and then later after a future 1 year 2 year your load will be very low, and then your business decided to remove 2 of the cluster nodes. You remove this in node 1 and node 2, you have only node 3 and node 4. So that time what you need to do, you need to again go back to this TNS name and then you need to remove manually those TNS names. This node 1 and node 2 entries you need to remove that. It is a kind of manual introversion. So you have to manually edit that TNS file and remove those 2 entries and keep only those 2 entries. Okay, this is one scenario. So that manually you need to edit. And there is a other scenario. Other scenario is like you are going to add, your business will be more and more growing and you want to decide to add 2 more nodes like node 5 and node 6. And then once you add node 5 and node 6, again node 5 and node 6 VIP, you have to go back to your TNS name and you have to add those node 5 and node 6 details manually. This is kind of manual introversion, you are just adding it. So this manually editing or deleting TNS entry is again manual effort. So to avoid that, there's a scan concept came into picture. So scan is a single client access name and short form of scan. Scan is a new feature that introduced in 11G R2 RAC, that it enables the client to use a single host name, like single host name. I'll tell you, I'll explain you. Just to take that, it's a single host name. Okay, so the scan will be like single client access name, and scan stand for that single client access name. So it is kind of single host name you are giving. That single host name is able to resolve all your connections. I will explain you in detail how that can be achieved. Client using a scan do not need to change the TNS configuration. It is a single name you have to give in your TNS entry. I will tell you, I will go back to the 3-tier architecture and I will explain you how the scan can be made. Scan is referred as a cluster alias for the database in the cluster. Okay, scan was introduced for the real application cluster in 11G R2 to provide additional functionality for the Oracle RAC, having a single name access for the entire cluster to connect database connection string. Okay, so I will just pause here and I'll go back to my 3-tier architecture. Okay, so what I told, in your app server, you are passing your TNS details. In the TNS details, you are passing your all VIPs, node VIP 1, 2, 3, 4. So instead of node 1, 2, 3, 4, you can give scan. What you define your scan name for this cluster. This is your cluster. You can say that scan RAC scan is your name. So you can just give RAC scan as your scan name. So it is just a single name you are giving here. So mobile device will connect to RAC scan, URL will connect to RAC scan, and internet will connect to RAC scan, or your desktop will connect to RAC scan. It is a single name, host name, and then anything connects, it will be further connected to any one of the surviving node. This scan has a capability to resolve incoming connection and resolve to any one of the cluster nodes. I will explain you how it will resolve. Okay, so now I'll go back, and having a single name access in the cluster connection, it will be easy for end user connection. So suppose this is, I told this is a single name and it is independent of your cluster nodes. Suppose you can remove this node 1, node 2, it doesn't matter for the cluster, and whatever the connection comes, it will check what are the surviving nodes. It is node 3 and node 4, it will connect to any one of the node. Suppose if you add two more nodes like node 5 and node 6, and if any one connection comes to rack scan, it will check the cluster nodes. Now there are earlier 4 nodes, now it is 5 nodes. It will check the connection and it will pass the connection to node 5 and node 6. So it means you no need to manually go and edit. If anything, if you do at the cluster node level, if you drop two nodes or add some nodes in the cluster, you no need to go and edit your TNS names. As earlier when you are using VIP, you have to do manual addition. Now no need to do it. It's just a single name naming convention. That single name is responsible for routing your incoming connection to any one of the cluster nodes. So that is the advantages having a scan over the VIPs. So here if you see here, right, I given one EZ connect and JDBC connect. What I mean, like I am passing the system name and password for the database. At the rate I am giving the scan name here. You can see sales1-scan. This is the one name I am giving here, and then port number 1521 and database name is OLTP. If I give this one name sales1-scan, this sales1-scan is able to resolve your connection to any one of these nodes. And if you add two more nodes, your this scan name is able to connect to your incoming connection to any node if you add extra in the cluster. And if you remove any node from the cluster, your scan is intelligent enough to pass the connection to only existing node in the connection, and it will discard this whatever node you removed from the cluster. Similarly, if the JDBC connection also, you can pass the same scan name. So if you are not using the scan name, what you need to do, you need to pass this all 4 nodes. As I told in the TNS name how you are passing, you need to pass all these 4 node VIPs. If you add 2 more node VIPs, you need to manually add 2 more VIPs. If you remove 2 nodes from the cluster, you need to remove those 2 VIPs from that connection string. So that is the advantages having the scan. Okay, so I'll just continue further in the scan. Scan resolved to 3 IPs. Basically, it is round robin. By default, if you install Oracle RAC cluster, it will resolve to 3 IPs, and then internally you can that 3 IP connection will be passed to any one of the surviving node. The 3 scan listener was determined to be sufficient to handle any large number of volumes or large number of connections. So the question is that the maximum 3 number of scan listener, or you can have more number of scan listener. So here, like mainly high availability when the listeners fails or reloaded. Of course, having more than 3 scan would be fine. You can have more than 3 scans, but 3 is the ideal scenario that is sufficient to handle your n number of incoming connection in the rack. But you can have more number of scan listener, that doesn't matter. Again, don't confuse with the scan listener. I will explain what is scan listener in next further future sessions. So there are 3 options for using the scan. One is define scan using corporate DNS, domain naming service, and then that single scan is able to resolve 3 IPs, and then that via 3 IPs it will connect to your any one of the cluster nodes. Define scan using Oracle grid naming service, that is again GNS. You can have it, you can define one IP, that one IP is able to resolve these 3 IPs internally, and that domain naming service you can define 3 IPs like static IPs, and then you can resolve to one single scan. That also possible in the domain naming service, or by assigning one single GNS. That single GNS is responsible for spanning 3 scan IPs. That also possible. Or you can manually add 3 IPs in the ETC host in case of no DNS, and is a like workaround. You can manually add it in the ETC host and then you can resolve them. These 3 are possible, but this third one nobody will use. It is not recommended one. Either GNS or domain naming service is the one ideally corporate or industry standard they will use. So I'll go to further slide. So you can see this is purely explain whatever explained so far. with example I'm giving here. See, I said this is the TNS name. If you go back to 3-tier architecture, I used to say that TNS name you are passing in your app server or any one of the client connections. So in this TNS name, the TNS name looks like this. If your database name is ORCL, and then if you have 3 nodes, you have to pass all 3 node VIPs. Like see, host 1 VIP, host 2 VIP, host 3 VIP. I given here 4 node. Like that, you can have node 1 VIP, node 2 VIP, node 3 VIP, and node 4 VIP. Like that, you need to give 4 VIPs here manually. And then load balancing equal to yes, you need to mention this. It means it will assign the incoming connection. For example, first connection comes, it will assign host VIP 1 because of this load balance, yes. And second connection comes, it will go to host 2, and third connection comes, it will go to host 3, and fourth connection comes, it will go to again host 1. Like that, due to this load balance mentioned yes, so it will assign incoming connection in the round robin fashion. If you don't mention this load balance equal to yes, always connection will comes and it will check for the first node 1, it will connect to node 2. Second connection comes, it will check for the node 1 and it will connect to node 1. And third connection comes, it will check for this first and it will connect to node 1. If you don't mention this load balance, all connection will go to node 1. If node 1 is not available, it will go to node 2. It will go in the sequential order. So if you connect n number of client connection, all n number of client connection go to host 1 only if you don't mention this load balance. This is a manual method. If you don't use scan, this is how the TNS looks like. I'll go to scan now. I'll go to next slide. Okay, see, this is scan TNS. If you are using the scan, if you see, compare with that previous TNS names, instead of that all 3 or 4 VIPs based upon your cluster nodes, you are giving one scan name here, cluster 1 scan 1, like, or you can go with rack -scan, whatever name you define, you just mention one name here. Like for example, connection 1 comes, it will connect to this scan, and this scan is internally routed to, it will span 3 IPs. For example, you assume that IP like 200, 300 and 400. IP 300, 400, sorry, IP 300, sorry, IP 200, 300 and 400. 200, 300 and 400. It is resolving 3 IPs. First connection comes to this scan and it will resolve to 200 IP. And that 200 IP is connected to node 1. I say, like, I'll just write it here. This scan is going to resolve 3 IPs. 200, 300, 400. So I mean, like, 200 means it will be like 192.168.1.200. Similarly, 192.168, 1.300 and 192.168, 1.400. So first connection comes, it will resolve to 200 and it will connect to node 1. And second connection comes, it will resolve to 300 and it will connect to node 2. And third connection comes, it will resolve to 400, it will connect to node 3. And again fourth connection comes, it will again resolve back to 200, it will connect to node 4. And then fifth connection comes, again it will resolve back to 300 and it will connect to node 1. Like that, in a round robin, it will resolve to, like, this 300, this 3 IP only, it will get resolved. Any connection comes, like in a round robin fashion, like 200, 300, 400, again 200, 300, 400, it will resolve the IP, and that connection will be established to your any one of the node in a round robin. Like, it will first connection will go to node 1, 2, 3, 4, and then again new connection, fifth connection, it will go to node 1, sixth it will go to node 2, seventh it will go to node 3, and eighth it will go to node 4. Like that, round robin it will assign based upon this 3 IP resolution. So this means, like, you are passing only one cluster name here. Suppose if you remove 2 nodes here from the cluster, you don't need to do anything at the scan name. You don't need to edit any TNS details here. If you remove these 2, cluster node will be only 1 and 2 now. If you remove 3 and 4, cluster node will be 1 and 2. For example, one connection comes, it will result to 200 and that will connect to node 1. And second connection comes, it will result to 300, it will connect to node 2. And third connection comes, it will resolve to 400, again it will go back to node 1. And the fourth connection comes, it will resolve to 200 and connection goes to node 2. Like that, between these 2 nodes only, this 3 IP will be resolved. That is like dynamically. You no need to do any manual addition in the TNS names. That is the advantages of scan here. So I'll go to next slide. So with that, I hope it is very much clear between what is scan and what is VIP. And scan is introduced in 11G R2, and then VIP is introduced in 10G. And what is the advantages of having scan over the VIP, and what is the advantages of having a VIP rather than the node IP. And you just remember node IP, VIP, and scan. And then you should remember also interconnect network. There are so many network concepts. I'll cover everything in the future session when I cover the networks. So with this with the today's session, I hope the scan and VIP is very pretty clear. So if any doubts, you just feel free to reach out to me. So before winding up my session, I do have one question here, one query. Please do comment in my YouTube comment section. The question here is, I told that interconnect will be in the different subnet. If you see here, subnet 2, and then this node will be in subnet 1, and VIP I made it as subnet 1, and scan I made it as subnet 2. So but I told in my today's session, this interconnect is going to be a private subnet, and it is internal to this cluster nodes will communicate. My question is node physical IPs, virtual IPs, and scan IPs can be in the different subnet? For example, this is physical IP is subnet 1, and VIP should be in subnet 3, and scan IP should be in subnet 4. Please do comment and answer my question. Can we have a different subnet for the physical nodes, physical node IPs, and node VIPs and scan VIPs? The question is clear. Can we have a different subnet for the physical IPs, node VIPs, and scan VIPs? So please do comment with your answers. I'll be waiting for your comments, and at the end I can give the answer for question. I know the answer, but I want you to think through and then give me the answer. Okay, so I'm winding up this session with taking a note that tomorrow's session I'm going to cover VIPs in depth with networks. All this network I'm going to cover, but don't forget to comment with your answer. Thank you guys.